This is Real News Media TV, coverage you can trust. Please like, share, subscribe, and hit the notification bell. Select all for daily news updates. Security officer dead, 2 other guards injured after shootouts. A security officer from the Guardsman group is dead and 2 of his colleagues injured following a shootout with armed robbers at a remittance outlet in Santa Cruz, St. Elizabeth today. The deceased security officer has not yet been identified. Reports are that about 8:15 a.m., the 3 guards were attacked by armed robbers as they exited their service vehicle at a remittance outlet along Main Street in Santa Cruz. A shootout ensued and the 3 security officers were shot. The gunmen escaped in a waiting vehicle and the injured guards were rushed to the hospital where one of the officers died. It is not yet clear whether any items were stolen. The police are now processing the scene. Guardsman confirmed the reports in a statement earlier and said that its thoughts and prayers were with the victims and that it was working with the police in their investigations. The group said as a result of the incident, it will postpone the virtual launch of its newest entity, iProtect Solutions Limited. Man and woman charged following police operations in Negril, Westmoreland. The Negril police on Tuesday charged a man and a woman following a series of operations in Red Ground, Westmoreland, in which an illegal handgun and a quantity of ganja were seized. 38-year-old Richard Mosley, otherwise called Tu-Pac, of Red Grounds has been charged with illegal possession of firearm and ammunition. Meanwhile, 45-year-old Desireen Campbell, also of Negril, Westmoreland, has been charged with possession of ganja and dealing in ganja. The police report that about 3 p.m., cops conducted an operation at a premises in the area. The police team reportedly entered and saw a man acting in a manner that aroused their suspicion. A motor vehicle that was in the yard was searched, and the firearm, a Taurus handgun, and 12 rounds of ammunition was seized in the glove compartment of the vehicle, according to the police. The police say a secondary operation was carried out at another premises occupied by Campbell, where 4 pounds of ganja were seized. She was arrested and subsequently charged. The court dates for both persons are being finalized. Teens among 4 arrested following gun seizure. The police are reporting that 3 teenage boys and a woman were taken into custody in relation to the seizure of a shotgun and a 12-gauge cartridge at a premises in Northampton in St. Elizabeth. It is reported that between 12:45 p.m. and 3 p.m. on Monday, cops carried out an operation in the area when the premises was searched. According to the police, a 12-gauge shotgun with 1 12-gauge cartridge was found at the trunk of a tree at the rear of the premises. The 4 were then arrested. Distress calls from some Corville Gardens St. Andrew residents. Residents of Paragon Avenue in Corville Gardens, St. Andrew, are complaining about being terrorized by an individual who they believe is mentally ill. The individual in question has reportedly been the aggressor in several incidents in and out of the community, but in recent months have upped the ante, becoming more creative and bizarre in his behavior. He recently used a van he owns to drag the husk of 2 used cars to create a choke point on the street that has impeded garbage collection and restricted traffic flow on the avenue. The garbage truck sometimes doesn't even bother to come on the avenue because they have to go all the way around via another street just to get to the garbage on the other side of the roadblock. So the street is a mess, a resident complained. Efforts to get a comment from the Kingston and St. Andrew Municipal Corporation regarding the public violation were unsuccessful. In the meantime, the residents remain under siege, especially single women and the elderly. He grew up in Corville but went away, did some prison time, and returned to his parents' house, but other residents had to remove the father because he wasn't treating him well, and since he has been the only one over there, he has only gotten worse. When him ready, him carry on. Him chop down trees, him mash up flowers, him cuss bad words, him get into altercations with people. And we called the Duhaney Park police on him one time when he was throwing stones, and they took him away, but him come back soon after. Now, when we call, them say them no have no vehicle, and even as he gets worse, no one is checking to see what is happening with him, another resident complained. Recently, a resident also lodged a formal complaint that he was attacked by the same individual who reportedly tried to stab him with a knife in New Kingston. The aggressor is said to have also attempted to assault a taximan in the area and has reportedly chopped down fruit trees and plants of his neighbors when he is gripped by rage. It's like the police are waiting for him to kill someone or someone to put themselves in problem and kill him, one of the exasperated residents said. The residents have become increasingly concerned about the emergence of retaliatory attacks as disgruntled residents have begun to go on the offensive against the unfriendly neighbor. It appears that people are fighting back because some people torched his van recently. The fire brigade had to come out the fire, and then a week after that, all the front windows of his house were broken late one night. We are afraid we need the police or the mental health unit to come get him some help, a resident said. The mental health unit is part of the Health Services Planning and Integration branch of the Ministry of Health and Wellness. Woman killed in dispute over garbage. A dispute over the dumping of garbage led to the murder of a 19-year-old woman and the wounding of another in the rural community of Carlton Mountain near Claremont in St. Anne on Tuesday. The police are now seeking a security guard for questioning in relation to the incident. According to the police, persons in the community had a domestic issue that escalated into a quarrel when the guard allegedly left the area and returned with a firearm. He allegedly fired several shots which hit two persons, one of whom was pronounced dead at the St. Anne's Bay Regional Hospital. The other person was treated and remains in a stable condition. The St. Anne police have appealed for Leroy Martin, who it is believed will offer assistance to their investigation, to turn himself in, said Deputy Superintendent Kevin Francis, who is in charge of operations, noting that 10 persons have been murdered in St. Anne since the start of the year. Francis is urging members of the public to desist from engaging in violent disputes, find reasonable solutions with which to treat our concerns, our problems, instead of resorting to violence, he said. There is a Disputes Resolution Foundation. There is a Community Safety and Security branch. Men charged for death of 2-year-old granted bail. The two St. Catherine men charged with manslaughter arising from the death of a 2-year-old boy are set to reappear in the St. Catherine Parish Court next month. Dead is Tayshawn McDonald of Marchman Road in Spanish Town, St. Catherine. Those charged with manslaughter are Javier Reed, otherwise called Cokehead, and Tayan Larman, alias Teeny. When they appeared in court on February 19, they were granted bail in the sum of $450,000 each. They are scheduled to reappear in court on April 23, when the matter will again be mentioned. Allegations are that about 11 a.m. on February 6, Tayshawn was at his gate when he was hit by a vehicle driven by Larman under Reed's instructions. They sped away and subsequently hit a female who was walking along the roadway. An angry mob then descended upon the men, who fled, leaving the ill-fated 2009 Suzuki Swift motor car. The car was set ablaze by the irate residents who descended on the scene. Cops hold St. Anne pastor for COVID church breaches. The pastor of a church in Windsor Heights, St. Anne's Bay, has been charged with breaching the Disaster Risk Management Act after the police were called to a worship service. Charged is Christine McLean of the City of Refuge End Time Prophetic Ministries Church. Also charged are a senior member and the armor bearer of the church. Reports reaching the news are that a church service with more than 50 congregants was being held in breach of the coronavirus legislation. Prime Minister Andrew Holness announced on Sunday that no more than 10 persons should attend church and only in the delivery of virtual services. Most of the congregants were reportedly not wearing masks or observing social distance protocols. Despite being told by the police to desist and disperse, the news understands that the congregation stood their ground in defiance for more than an hour. On our arrival, we observed that a service was in full effect and that the service had in excess of 55 persons inside the building, gathered, worshipping and without masks, said Deputy Superintendent Kevin Francis, who is in charge of operations for St. Anne. Francis said the police engaged the leadership of the church in discussion and sought to address the congregation. He also invited personnel from the St. Anne Health Department to speak to the congregation on COVID-19 protocols. There was no compliance. As a result, the pastor who was leading the congregation was asked by the police to accompany us to the station, Francis said. Please remember to like, share, subscribe, and hit the notification bell. Select all for daily news updates.